Tessa from Mama's Geeky here. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel. My name is Tessa Smith with MamasGeeky.com. Thank you, John and Lori, so much for taking the time today. My family are huge Ice Age fans, so we were definitely excited to see another film. I'd love to know why Buck Wild? Like, there's so many ways you could have gone. So why Buck Wild?
I think part of it was Buck is just he's such an incredible character. I mean, he's eccentric, he's funny, he's a swashbuckler, he's a hero. He talks to rocks, he talks to, he's tree stumps. He has friends who are carnivorous plants. I mean, he's just a colorful character. But he's also a really a loyal, and he's a protector. He protects the lost world. He's guardian of the lost world. That provides so much adventure, exploration for adventure and peril and hijinks and everything. So I think that was part of the reason. The other half of the reason, obviously, is Simon Pegg. Why wouldn't we want to be with Simon? Simon is just a hoot. He is this character. He made that. He bore this character. So it was great to be able to take this character. We also wanted to be able to focus in on characters that we might not have been able to spend as much time with when we're in a movie with lots, 18 characters. So we wanted to be able to narrow it in and focus on who we wanted to peel back some layers and get to know a little better. So Buck Wild was the one to start with.
You have anything to add, John?
No, I mean, Lori really summed it up. I mean, I guess I'll just touch on Crash and Eddie a little bit, because they've always been really sort of very much sidekick characters and protective of Ellie and there for comedic fun. But we didn't really get to know who they are, what they're thinking. So it was also an opportunity to have a journey with them and see them grow up a little bit. And they've been in the franchise for a while now, since the second installment, and it kind of felt right for them to say, you know what, we should be independent possums. We should go off and do our own thing. And they have this fantasy of having this bachelor pad, and they get into some trouble. And they're very fun characters too. They're just always have each other's back, but always at the other's expense at the same time. So they're really fun characters to spend time with. So.
Yeah, I have two daughters, and it's very similar in that regard.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this feels like my children. I can see this happening. They're 9 and 10, so that's exactly how it plays out. Now, I will say my 9-year-old absolutely fell in love with Z as a character. Looks up to her, wants to be like her, thinks she's so cool. So, can you guys talk about creating this new character, Z?
Well, Z oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that makes me really happy that your daughter likes her, because we wanted to find a character, a female character, that could be a match in sort of awesomeness to Buck, and so that was sort of the goal. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, well, Buck is extremely physical, and he daredevil, and he does all these hijinks, and he can do anything. And we really needed to find a really strong female character, not obviously physically, so that she could basically do as much of the swashbuckling as he would. But we needed someone who was his equal, and she is his equal in her moral compass, in the fact that she is protector of the lost world, that she basically has she's someone you could trust to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. And the fact is that she and Buck had a little bit of a history that we didn't know before, but know now. And now it's about them coming back together and not quite getting along quite well, not quite trusting each other. So by the end of it, they have actually become a trustworthy team that they can rely on each other, count on each other. So we watched that relationship grow. And it was very important to us to have a really strong female character. And when Justina came in, she is very much like that character. She's a strong woman, and she tells you what she thinks. If she doesn't like something, you know it. And we really wanted Z to emulate part of that. So once we knew Justina a little bit better, we incorporated some of her character into the role too, and it felt so much more organic. So going up against Buck, we needed someone to be all those things and be his complete equal.
Yeah, well, Justina's great. I spoke with her just a little bit earlier, and I had asked her if like Z could have a future like where would we see her go? And she actually said she'd really love to see a prequel. And I know with Disney Plus now, you can just maybe, hopefully that's a nice platform for some future stuff. So do you think that would be possible to maybe get a prequel here?
At this point, anything is possible. We don't know.
I mean, that's the beauty of what's happening in animation and streaming right now. There's an explosion of animation, and you can go down these avenues and explore some things. And you know, if the audience wants it, they just need to communicate that up to our bosses, and you know, we're happy to explore those things. I mean, it's really, I just want to say again, it's really gratifying to hear say your daughter like latched on to Z. You know, it's just great to have a role model in a female character that isn't like role model for female character. You know, it's just because of who she is. You know, and so that means it's somewhat successful. I know that as a dude, I relied on my female animators to help that character in the way that she was portrayed, and you know, I definitely pulled them and wanted to make sure that she was somebody that would be looked at as like an equal to Buck and not subservient in some way.
Yeah, well, you guys pulled it off. Like I said, she immediately like fell in love with her. So she's like, when are we getting more? Like, I want more. And then she was upset that the screener like expired. And she's like, when can I watch this again? I'm like, it will be coming. I promise. So I guarantee you, she's going to give you guys 1 million views just for her.
I love it. Well, that will mean maybe that we'll be able to make more.
Exactly. So that's what I love so much about the Ice Age franchise, though, is that it's something that I watched before I had kids, but now we watch it together as a family. So can you talk about what you hope families take away from this movie in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ice Age franchise is always centered around family. And, you know, I think that there's a couple things that resonate to me in this story, and hopefully people get that as well, which is you have your family, and your family is your family. It might mean that you have an adopted brother, or you might be an adopted child, or you might, you know, come from completely different backgrounds. You might, so that the Ice Age franchise has always embraced the idea that family is thicker than blood, and it you know that it's who you are associating with, not necessarily your blood relations. Mm-hmm. And then what it is that can drive families apart, and more importantly, what can bring them together. And I think that this movie touches on themes of separation. You know, the boys going off on their own, and Ellie having to deal with that. You know, parents deal with that when the kids go away to college, or whatever. But you know, I think that in these times that we're going through as the globe, and being separated from our grandparents or our siblings or our parents out of necessity, it just reminds everybody that, you know, we're still a family. You know, we can't get together for the holidays or whatever, but we're still together, you know, even though they're moving miles apart. So those are some of the takeaways, and it's the family bond. And it's always been the family bond in the Ice Age film, and this is just exploring a different facet of that.
Yeah, I love it. All right, Lori, they're telling me to wrap. But thank you guys so much for taking the time. I really, really appreciate it. And I know my daughter can't wait for this to hit Disney Plus.
Thank you. Thank you.
You so tell much. Her we appreciate her.
I will. She'll love that.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much to all of my monetary supporters, my members here on YouTube, as well as my patrons. If you haven't joined yet, please consider doing so. We have some really awesome perks, including a monthly Zoom meeting where we get to talk face to face. Thank you again to everyone who supports me.